The rain hammered against the taxi window as we pulled up to the house in Richmond Hill. 22 years. 22 years I'd spent in the oil fields of Alberta, sending every spare dollar back to Toronto so my daughter Emily could have the life I never did. The house looked exactly like the photos she'd sent me 3 years ago. Red brick, white trim, that maple tree I'd asked her to plant in the front yard. My chest tightened with pride. This was it. This was what all those frozen mornings at -40 had been for. I paid the driver and stood there for a moment, my duffel bag heavy in my hand. I hadn't told Emily I was coming. Wanted it to be a surprise. Wanted to see her face light up when she opened that door. I'd bought this house for her outright $640,000. No mortgage, no debt. Just a father's gift to his only child. The front door was unlocked. That should have been my first warning. I stepped inside and the smell hit me first. Cleaning products. Pine sol and bleach. Then I heard her voice from upstairs. "I'm almost done with the master bathroom, Mrs. Chen. I just need to..." I froze. Mrs. Chen? Emily's married name was Patterson. She'd married Derek Patterson 4 years ago, right before I took that supervisor position in Fort McMurray. The money was too good to pass up, and Emily had assured me she'd be fine. Derek was an investment advisor, made good money. They'd take care of this beautiful home I'd bought them. I climbed the stairs slowly, my work boots heavy on the hardwood I'd paid for. The door to the master bedroom was open. Emily was on her hands and knees, scrubbing the bathroom floor. Her hair was tied back in a ratty ponytail. She wore a gray sweatshirt that had seen better days and yoga pants with holes in the knees. She looked thin, too thin. "Emily?" She looked up, and for a moment, just a moment, I saw recognition flicker in her eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by confusion and something that made my stomach turn. Fear. "I'm sorry, sir. If you're looking for Mrs. Chen, she's out shopping with Mr. Patterson. They should be back around." "Emily, it's me. It's Dad." She blinked. Then her hand flew to her mouth, and the cleaning brush clattered to the floor. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't move. She just stayed there, kneeling on that bathroom floor, staring at me like I was a ghost. "Dad? What are you? You can't be here. Derek will." "Derek will what?" I stepped into the room. "Baby, what's going on? Why are you cleaning your own bathroom like this? And who the hell is Mrs. Chen?" Before she could answer, I heard voices downstairs. A woman's laugh, sharp, entitled. Then a man's voice I recognized from phone calls. "Derek, the groceries won't put themselves away, and Mrs. Chen needs her lunch by 1 o'clock. I watched my daughter's face crumble. She stood up quickly, wiping her hands on her pants. "You have to leave. Please, Dad. If he finds you here, if he finds me here in the house I bought for my daughter?" "Oh, I don't think so." I walked out of that bathroom and down the stairs. Derek Patterson stood in the foyer, his arm around a Chinese woman in her 50s wearing what I recognized as designer clothes. She had the look of someone used to getting her way. Multiple shopping bags sat at their feet. Derek saw me and his face went through about 5 different expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, confusion, recognition, calculation, and finally, contempt. Jack Morrison? What the hell are you doing here?" "I live here," I said slowly. "Or rather, my daughter does. In the house, I bought her." The woman, Mrs. Chen, looked at Derek with raised eyebrows. Derek's jaw tightened. "This is my mother-in-law," he said. "Catherine Chen. Catherine, this is Emily's father. He's just visiting from out west." "Visiting?" I felt my hands clench into fists. "I'm not visiting. I'm home. And somebody better start explaining to me why my daughter is scrubbing floors like she's the hired help." Catherine Chen smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Emily works for us. She's our live-in housekeeper. Surely she told you about the arrangement?" The world tilted sideways. "Housekeeper? She's your daughter-in-law. She owns this house." Derek laughed, actually laughed. "Is that what Emily told you?" "Dad, I'm afraid she's been lying to you. This house is mine. Well, mine and Catherine's. We bought it 3 years ago. Emily lives here rent-free in exchange for housekeeping duties. It's a fair arrangement, considering her situation." "Her situation? What situation?" "The debt." Catherine Chen pulled out her phone and showed me a screen. "Emily owes us $167,000. Did she not tell you?" I stared at the numbers. "That's impossible. I sent her money every month. $5,500, regular as clockwork, for 22 years. There's no way she has debt. And where do you think that money went? Derek crossed his arms. Emily has a spending problem, Jack. Always has. Designer purses, spa days, wine with the girls. She went through every penny you sent, and then some. When she couldn't pay her credit cards anymore, Catherine and I helped her out. We paid off her debts and took ownership of this house as collateral. You're lying. Am I? Derek's smile was all teeth. Where's the paperwork for this house, Jack? Where's the deed with Emily's name on it? Because I've got one with my name on it? Want to see it? I looked up the stairs. Emily stood at the top, tears streaming down her face, shaking her head. Not in denial, in defeat. Show me, I said. Derek disappeared into what used to be the den and came back with a folder. Inside was a deed dated 3 years ago. The house at 47 Willowbrook Drive, Richmond Hill, Ontario, owned by Derek Patterson and Catherine Chen, purchased for $650,000. But I'd bought this house for $640,000. I had the bank records, the wire transfer, everything made out to Emily Morrison. My Emily, this is fraud, I said quietly. This is business, Catherine Chen replied. Your daughter made poor choices. We helped her. She's repaying us the only way she can. I think you should leave now, Mr. Morrison. You're trespassing. I looked at Derek, really looked at him. The expensive watch, the designer shirt, the haircut that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in a month. Then I looked at Catherine with her Gucci bags and her manicured nails, and I understood they'd stolen my daughter's life. Somehow, they'd taken the house I bought her and made it theirs, and they'd broken her so completely that she'd let them. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. Text from my lawyer, Paul Brennan. We'd served together in the forces back in the 80s. He'd helped me set up the house purchase for Emily. He'd made sure everything was legal and protected. Just landed in Toronto. Coffee tomorrow at 9? I typed back with shaking hands. Make it 8. And bring everything. I looked at Derek and Catherine. I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight, but I'll be back, and we're going to have a real conversation about this debt and this house. Don't bother, Derek said. Emily's made her choices. She's accepted her role here. Maybe you should accept it too. I walked to the stairs. Emily had disappeared. I found her in the small bedroom at the end of the hall. Not even a bedroom, really. More like a storage room with a single bed shoved in the corner. This was where they made my daughter sleep, in the house I bought her. She sat on the bed, arms wrapped around herself, rocking slightly. Emily, baby, look at me. You have to go, Dad, please. If you make trouble, they'll... She stopped. They'll what? They'll call the police. Say I stole things. They have documentation. Derek's been building a case for months. He says if I try to leave or tell anyone, he'll have me arrested. He says with his connections, I'll go to jail and lose my son. My blood went cold. Your son? You have a son? She nodded, tears falling faster now. Charlie. He's 7. He's at school right now. Derek says if I don't cooperate, he'll take Charlie away from me. He'll prove I'm an unfit mother. And Catherine knows judges. She has connections. Dad, I can't lose my son. He's all I have left. I knelt in front of her and took her hands. They were rough, chapped from cleaning products. My daughter, who'd played piano, who'd wanted to be a veterinarian, who'd had the whole world ahead of her. Listen to me, I said. I'm going to fix this, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? They have lawyers. They have money. They have stolen property and a paper trail. And I have something better. I have the truth. And I have Paul Brennan, who doesn't lose cases, ever. Emily squeezed my hands. What do you need me to do? Nothing. Not yet. Go about your day like normal. Take care of Charlie. I'll be back in a few days. And Emily? Don't tell them I said any of this. She nodded. I kissed her forehead and left that house with my heart in pieces but my mind on fire. I'd spent 22 years in the Alberta cold, working jobs that broke men half my age. I'd survived minus 50-degree winters. I'd handled equipment that could kill you if you blinked wrong. I'd faced down drunks in camp bars and won. Derek Patterson and Catherine Chen had no idea what they'd just unleashed. Paul Brennan met me at a Tim Hortons in North York at 8 the next morning. He looked the same as always, gray hair buzzed, military short, shrewd eyes, a briefcase that probably contained enough legal firepower to level a small city. "Tell me," he said. I told him everything. He listened without interrupting, making notes on his tablet. When I finished, he sat back and drained his coffee. "They're smart," he said, "but they made mistakes, 3 big ones. Tell me." "First, the original deed. I have copies of everything we filed when you bought that house. Emily Morrison was the sole owner. The only way Derek and Catherine could have changed that is with Emily's signature on a transfer of ownership. If they forged it, that's fraud. If they coerced her, that's fraud. Either way, we have them. Second, the debt. They claim $167,000. But where are the credit card statements, the loan documents, the receipts for this alleged spending? If Emily was going through $5,500 a month for 22 years, that's almost $1.5 million. Even if she spent recklessly, there would be a trail. We need to see that trail. And third, Paul smiled. It was not a kind smile. Catherine Chen, according to public records, is a commercial real estate agent in Markham. Derek Patterson works at Chen Investments, which is owned by Surprise Catherine Chen. They're not just stealing your daughter's house. They're running a scam. I'd bet money Emily isn't the first person they've done this to. So, what's our move? We get Emily to sign a limited power of attorney, so I can request documents on her behalf. We file for an emergency court order to review the deed transfer, and we hire a forensic accountant to trace where your money actually went. This is going to take time, Jack. Maybe a few months. Can you stay in Toronto that long? I can stay as long as it takes. Good. Because here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to tip them off. We're not going to confront them. You're going to go back to that house and you're going to apologize. Apologize? For the misunderstanding. Tell them you didn't realize Emily's situation. Tell them you're heading back to Alberta, but you'd like to take Emily and your grandson out for dinner before you leave. Be harmless. Be the confused old dad who doesn't understand the younger generation's financial arrangements. I felt my jaw clench. You want me to let them think they won. I want them to think you're not a threat. Because that's when people get sloppy, Jack. They get comfortable. And when they get comfortable, they make mistakes. And we'll be watching for every single one. I went back to the house that afternoon with a Tim Hortons box and a smile that felt like glass on my face. Derek answered the door. "Mr. Morrison, I thought you'd left. I wanted to apologize," I said. The words tasted like acid. I overreacted yesterday. Emily's situation isn't what I thought it was, but I understand now. She's an adult. She made her choices. I just wanted to say goodbye properly before I head back to Fort Mac. Derek's expression shifted. Suspicion to satisfaction. "Well, that's very mature of you. I was hoping I could take Emily and my grandson Charlie out for dinner tonight. Just to catch up, if that's all right with you." Derek glanced back into the house. "Catherine and I have an event tonight anyway." "Sure. Just have her back by 10. She has to be up early tomorrow to prepare breakfast." I wanted to put my fist through his face. Instead, I nodded. 10 o'clock. Got it. Emily's eyes were wide with confusion when Derek told her about dinner. But she didn't argue. She just went upstairs to change while I sat in the living room, looking at the photos on the mantel. None of them included Emily. It was all Derek and Catherine, at charity events, at restaurant openings, living the life my money had bought them. Charlie was a small, quiet 7-year-old with Emily's eyes and a fear of adults that made my chest hurt. He barely spoke in the car. Emily kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to explain. I drove to a Swiss chalet far enough from the house that we wouldn't be seen. Once we were settled in a back booth, I leaned forward. "Charlie, buddy, can you play on your mom's phone for a few minutes? The grown-ups need to talk." He nodded, grateful for the escape. Emily handed him her phone and watched him start up a game. "Dad, what's going on? I need you to tell me the truth. All of it. Start from the beginning." So she did. Derek had been wonderful at first. Charming, successful. He'd proposed after 6 months, and she'd said yes. I'd been thrilled. Sent extra money for the wedding. Derek suggested City Hall instead. Small, intimate, practical. Emily agreed. The wedding cost $2,000. I'd sent 15. 6 months after they married, Catherine moved in. Temporarily, Derek said, just until she sold her condo. The temporary arrangement became permanent. Catherine took over the master bedroom. Derek and Emily moved to the guest room. Then Catherine suggested Emily could help out around the house since she wasn't working. Derek convinced me to quit my job at the vet clinic, Emily whispered. Said he made enough for both of us. Said I should focus on getting pregnant. Then when I got pregnant with Charlie, he said I should focus on being a mom. So I did. After Charlie was born, things changed. Derek became distant. Catherine became critical. Nothing Emily did was good enough. The house wasn't clean enough. Dinner wasn't made properly. Charlie was too loud. Then Derek sat me down and showed me these credit card statements. $50,000 in debt, he said, all in my name. I didn't remember charging that much, but he had the statements. He said if I didn't get it under control, he'd have to divorce me, and I'd lose everything. Let me guess, I said. Catherine offered to help. Emily nodded. She paid off the cards. But then every month, Derek would show me new charges. More debt. He said I was shopping while he was at work, buying things online and forgetting. Maybe I had a problem. Maybe I needed help. I'd heard of this. Gaslighting. Financial abuse. They'd built a cage around my daughter so slowly she didn't realize she was trapped until it was too late. So they had me sign papers. Derek said it was just to consolidate the debt, make things easier. I signed everything he put in front of me. I was so tired, Dad. Charlie wasn't sleeping. I was confused all the time. I thought maybe Derek was right. Maybe I did have a problem. The papers you signed transferred the house to them. I know that now. Derek told me last year. He said since I couldn't pay back what I owed, I'd work it off. Housekeeping, childcare when Catherine's friends visit, cooking, cleaning. He said if I tried to leave, he'd call the police. He had evidence I'd been stealing, that I was unstable, that I was a danger to Charlie. And you believed him? He showed me documents, police reports he'd filed, statements from Catherine saying I'd been erratic, aggressive. Dad, I was so scared. What if he was right? What if I was losing my mind? I reached across the table and took her hands. You're not losing your mind. They've been stealing from you, from us, and we're going to prove it. I explained Paul's plan. Emily's face cycled through disbelief, hope, and terror. What if it doesn't work? What if it will work? But I need you to be strong for a little while longer. Can you do that? She looked at Charlie, absorbed in his game, innocent and unaware. For him, I can do anything. We went back to the house at 9:45. Derek was waiting at the door, checking his watch. I shook his hand and thanked him for his generosity in letting me spend time with my family. The words made me want to vomit. I left Toronto the next day, but I didn't go to Alberta. I went to a short-term rental in Mississauga and started working with Paul. The forensic accountant's name was Ruth Chen, no relation to Catherine, she assured us, with a dry smile. She was a 50-something woman who'd made her career destroying financial criminals. Within 2 weeks, she'd traced every dollar I'd sent to Emily. The money had gone into a joint account. Derek was the primary account holder. Every month, he'd transferred my deposits to accounts in his and Catherine's names. Emily had never seen a penny. The credit card debt? Real cards, fake charges. Derek had access to Emily's information. He'd opened accounts in her name and charged them up himself. Restaurants Catherine liked, watches, golf club memberships. Then he'd shown Emily statements he'd doctored to make it look like she'd made the purchases. The house transfer, signed under duress. Ruth found email exchanges between Derek and Catherine discussing the Emily problem and how to secure the asset. The asset being the house I'd bought for my daughter. They'd been planning this from the start. Derek had married Emily because she had a father with money and no other family to ask questions. My wife had died when Emily was 12. My own parents were gone. Emily was alone except for me, and I was 2,000 miles away. Perfect victim. That's what Catherine had called her in one email. Paul filed everything with the court on a Friday afternoon. Emergency motion to restore ownership of the property to Emily Morrison. Restraining order against Derek Patterson and Catherine Chen, prohibiting them from disposing of assets. Mandatory financial disclosure. We served them simultaneously at 5 p.m. I watched from Paul's car as the process server knocked on the door of my house. Derek answered. Read the papers. The blood drained from his face. He called someone immediately. Catherine, probably. Good. Let them panic. The emergency hearing was set for Monday morning. Paul advised me to stay away. They might claim intimidation. So I sat in that rental apartment and waited. Emily called me Sunday night. They're gone, she said. Derek and Catherine. They packed up and left this morning. Just took their clothes and left. Dad, what do I do? Stay there. Lock the doors. I'm sending Paul over with a locksmith. We're changing all the locks. That's your house, Emily. They're the trespassers now. Monday's hearing was brutal. Derek and Catherine showed up with an expensive lawyer who tried to argue that this was a simple contract dispute. Paul dismantled them in under an hour. The forged documents, the fabricated debt, the emails discussing their plan, the money trail. The judge was a woman in her 60s who looked like someone's grandmother until she started talking. Then she was a dragon. Mr. Patterson, Miss Chen, what you've described in these documents is not a contract dispute. It's systematic fraud and financial elder abuse. Not of Mr. Morrison, though that's certainly part of it, but of his daughter. You isolated her. You manipulated her. You manufactured debt and used it to steal her property. Do you have anything to say? Derek tried to speak. The judge cut him off. I'm ordering the immediate return of all property to Emily Morrison. I'm freezing your assets pending a full investigation. And I'm referring this case to the Crown Attorney's Office for criminal charges. You're both lucky Miss Morrison's father doesn't want to see you in jail. He just wants his daughter's life back. Get out of my courtroom. They left. Derek was pale. Catherine wouldn't look at anyone. Emily got her house back that day. The deed was transferred back to her name. Paul found bank accounts in Catherine's name with $470,000. Emily's money. What was left of it, after they'd been spending it for 3 years. The criminal case took longer. Derek pleaded guilty to fraud over $5,000 and got 18 months. Catherine got 2 years. Chen Investments was investigated and shut down. They'd been running variations of this scam on 3 other families, all immigrants with limited English who trusted them. I stayed in Toronto for 6 months, helping Emily rebuild. We changed every lock, repainted every room, made that house hers again. She enrolled Charlie in a better school, started working part-time at a vet clinic again, slowly building back her confidence. One night, we were sitting in the living room, her living room, finally, and she looked at me. Why didn't you come sooner? I should have, I said. I should have visited more, should have video called more, should have asked more questions. I thought sending money was enough. I thought I was being a good father by providing. You were. You are. A good father would have noticed his daughter was in trouble. Emily put her head on my shoulder the way she used to when she was small. A good father taught his daughter to be strong, to trust that help would come. You came when I needed you. That's what matters. I retired from the oil fields that year, sold my place in Fort Mac and moved to Toronto. Got a small condo in North York, close enough to help Emily, far enough to let her breathe. Charlie calls me Grandpa now without fear in his eyes. Emily smiles more. Sometimes I catch her singing while she cooks, and I remember the girl she used to be before Derek Patterson tried to erase her. The house in Richmond Hill is worth over $1 million now. Emily will sell it someday, I think. Too many bad memories. But for now, it's hers, truly hers. No one can take that from her again. I learned something in those months. Money isn't protection. Presence is. I'd spent 22 years trying to give Emily the life I never had. But what she'd needed was me. Just me. There. Derek got out of jail after 12 months. Last I heard, he was working retail in Hamilton. Catherine served her full sentence and left Canada. Went back to Hong Kong, according to Paul's sources. I don't think about them much anymore. Sometimes I see men like Derek, smooth, confident, predatory, and I feel that old rage flare up. But then I remember, they lost. We won. Emily's free. And sometimes winning isn't about revenge. It's about rescue. It's about showing up. It's about being the person who doesn't walk away when things get hard. I spent 22 years in the cold sending money home. I thought that was love. But love isn't a wire transfer. It's not a down payment on a house or a monthly check. Love is getting on a plane when something feels wrong. Love is sitting across from a lawyer and saying, "Fix this." Love is changing locks and repainting walls and teaching your grandson to ride a bike in the driveway of the house you bought his mother. Love is staying, and I'm never leaving again.